The purpose of this video is to explain to you the criteria for the two papers that you're going to write for the class. The first paper is due at the end of Module 6. The second paper is due at the end of Module 10. The first paper, you're going to make a case for the most important person or event in church history. And this paper will be 4 to 6 pages long. You should use MLA or APA. It needs 4 outside sources. And when I talk about 4 to 6 pages, that does not include a title page, which you don't need, and it doesn't include the works cited page, which you do need. You should cite your sources within the paper, and again, make sure that you make a case for who you think is the most important person or event in church history. You can't talk about Jesus, unfortunately. We all know he's the most important. And make sure, since it's a formal paper, that you don't use any personal pronouns. It's not about your opinion. You're just voicing your opinion through research and facts. The second paper is a paper that's about a moral issue. In Module 10, there are some PowerPoints about morality. One of the slides in particular that I wanted to address dealt with the Wesleyan quadrilateral. This is a tool that you can use to determine if something is moral or immoral. It's pretty simple. The first quadrant is Scripture. We look to the Bible to see first if the Bible said anything about this. Oftentimes, the Bible is either inconsistent or it can be hard to interpret, or sometimes Jesus updated what the Old Testament says with what's in the New Testament, or sometimes it's just simply not discussed because it's a newer issue or problem. In that case, you can use the Bible and you can make inferences. You can say, if the Bible said this, then it would say this today. But either way, I want you to consult the Bible, the Old Testament, or the New Testament. Second of all, tradition is the tradition or teachings of the church. These are things that aren't necessarily rooted in the Bible, but have evolved in the teaching of the church. The best source for this is the Catechism, or a papal encyclical, or anything really written by a pope that highlights a teaching of the church. The third one is reason, and with reason we consult science, math, logic, and we try to find proof or facts that back up a belief that we have, and we look to nature as kind of a guide for what God intended. If God created something a specific way, then that's what God intended. And then finally, experience, which might be your own experience, or it could be the experience of others. For example, if you were doing a paper on homosexuality, and you personally know someone who is a homosexual, of course this will alter or shape your opinion on the topic. Another example is you may have never experienced torture, which I hope you haven't. Maybe your paper is on that. But we can still consult the experience of, say, a prisoner of war during Nazi Germany and a book that was written about them as, something that forms and shapes our opinion. So look to the Wesleyan quadrilateral, go through that in your paper, and try to arrive at a conclusion about whether something is moral or immoral. You can pick your own topic, but try to stay away from the topics that are listed in the book. I think they're listed in Chapter 8. Anyway, that's due at the end of Module 10. Let me double check that. And yes, that's true. And so as you are writing the paper, you can also consult the syllabus, which also has some information at the back of it that will help you in writing the paper. I was just looking at this to double check. So it's in Module 10 that you will look to find the PowerPoints on morality that should help you. You should look ahead of time at that so you can turn it in at the end of Module 10. And just like that with Module 6, the information about the paper could be found there as well, but you want to look through Module 1 through, or the reading anyway, for Module 1 through 6 to determine a topic. So good luck with writing the papers, and email me about any questions.